I'm going to spill the tea on ADHD real quick. So, as you guys can see, this video is of a sleeping bear. Now imagine that bear in your mind. And now imagine that bear being multiplied by 20 and each one having different reactions, but every single one of them is in control of how your mind does actions. That's what having ADHD is like. I currently just went through a situation where I went from very spiteful and angry and emotionally distressed to joyful, haha, funny, then immediately back to I'm focusing on a video game. All within the span of about 2 to 3 minutes. Why? Because ADHD is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in the fact that I can do that, where I can just decide I'm not going to feel a certain way, so I just distract myself with things that make me feel good. However, the curse comes in when that exact thing happens when you're trying to feel good. When you're having a good time and you're relaxing with friends and everything seems to be going right in the world, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up and starts talking about how somebody died, how your cat got lost, how everybody around you is constantly talking about you, how everything that you've done is wrong. Now imagine that, right? But inside of your mind, and that is the kind of situation I'm dealing with, where I can go from happy and joyful to 1 minute to feeling like absolute dog doo-doo in the next. So, here's the thing. We're going to not feel like that today. We're actually going to feel a lot better today because I'm going to share some tips of mine to help deal with ADHD and deal with that hyper changing of emotions and that emotional instability. The best tip that I can ever give is a saying that I learned a while ago, and I continue to live by it. Sometimes you have to chuck it in the fuck it bucket and move on. You heard me right. Chuck it in the fuck it bucket and move on. And why do I say that? Because sometimes you're going to need to say fuck it. Sometimes you're going to be so angry and distraught over something that you don't need to be distraught about. You're going to look at something and you're going to realize that that's not that important. It never was. It feels like it is. It feels like if you don't deal with that issue right then and there, it's going to take over your entire life. But it's not. It never has been. It just feels like that to you. And so, with that, I say this. Fuck it. You gotta chuck it in the fuck it bucket and move on. And you may be thinking, oh, this video's boring. It's just a picture of a bear and him talking. But the reason why is because you have to listen to my words rather than look at the picture. Sometimes you gotta do like this bear and take a nap. Other times you have to deal with the problem head on and you can't run away from it. And then there's those times where all you can do is curl up and lay there. And that's fine. Because those times will come and then they will pass. And then the next thing you should do after they pass is get back on the work that you were supposed to be doing before then. And it may be hard with ADHD. It's going to be. It's definitely going to be a terrible time trying to get every job done with ADHD as soon as possible. But that's not what you're there for. You're there to get the job done that you know you can get done. So, if you think you can't write that paper, you can do it. If you think there's a project that's so out of your league that you don't think you'll ever be able to put yourself on that project, you can. All you have to do is follow one simple rule. chuck it in the fuck it bucket, and move on. Because sometimes you gotta say fuck it to those thoughts in your head that are telling you that you can't do something. And a lot of the time, those thoughts that say you can't are just you saying that you don't think you can. Now, I'm pretty sure that everybody has heard of the book of The Little Engine That Could. And if you haven't, I'll give you a brief synopsis. There's a little tank engine, almost a little train engine, that was constantly told that he can't do things. But every time he came up against an adversary, be it by the environment or by somebody else, he would chant, "I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can," and he would do it. And the book is a great example of the power of placebo, but also a great example of the power of your own human mind. If you think you can't do something, then you can't. But if you think you can do something, then you can, and you have a choice on whether or not you do that thing. So, stop saying I can't. Start saying I can maybe. And if you can't do that, if you can't say I can maybe, then follow my advice and chuck that thought in the fuck it bucket and move on. Because once that thought is out of your brain for the rest of your life, it's gone. It's out of your hands. It's no longer your thought. Now it's everybody. Now it's outside of you. And that means that you can do whatever you want. Now, I'm going off to eat some breakfast and possibly finish some semblance of a chore that I haven't gotten done. So, with that, I will conclude with one final message. You're valid, you're loved, and you can do it. No matter how long it's going to take you to get it done. Alright, bye!